I am here with future champion Julian Rodriguez, who fights at the 140 pounds. Julian, I just want you to describe to my audience your style of fighting.
I'm a very intelligent fighter. I really adapt to my opponent. If my opponent loves to come forward and has slow feet, I really, implement my footwork in the game plan of the fight. I use a really nice jab to set up my other punches, and I pretty much consider myself a boxer puncher. Again, it's really up to. I just really adapt to my opponent. So.
The thing I like about you is a lot of sluggers aren't high IQ fighters that don't move their head. But what you do, you move your head, you can make adjustments like you just said, because you fought in the garden and you fighting one way, you changed up in the middle of the fight. You remember the fight, right?
Yeah.
And you ended up winning. So you described that fight.
Well, I don't really consider myself a slugger. A lot of other people.
But you're powerful out there.
Yeah, because the first couple fights of my career, I would just go in and take them out, but that's because I would see the opening and I would just capitalize on it. That fight in particular, I wanted to show people that there was another side to my style. So the first maybe 4 or 5 rounds, I decided to box and really use my footwork and head movement to tire him out and really just open him up. And then once I felt like I saw the openings and I was able to capitalize on his mistakes, that's when I really put my foot on the gas and started to put the pressure.
Now let me ask you something. Is power created and generated, or were you born with it? Because when you fight, I noticed watching your fights, you could hear the sound of your punches like pop, pop, pop on the TV screen. So, are you born with that, or do you have to develop that kind of power?
Well, for me, it was both. I definitely was born with some type of strength because I acquired the name Hammer Hands when I was 9 years old.
Oh, you earned that.
When I was 9 years old. So, but it also comes, it also really stems from technique, and I think that's where the snap comes from. A lot of fighters are born with heavy hands, such as maybe Antonio Margarito or a fighter like that, where you may not necessarily hear the pop, but I think the technique is what really causes the punches to snap, and I think that's what really causes the knockouts and the punches that you don't see.
Even though it's early in your career, I consider you and Errol Spence the best body punchers in the sport, where you really punish fighters. I saw you fight PQ, and he's kind of cocky. You hit him in the body. You say, hey, that didn't hurt. Then by the second round you hit him, he had just looked like he did like a stanky leg with his eye, like, oh, get me out of here. And if it had went more than 4 rounds, he'd have been out of there. He was cocky early, but you stayed disciplined with the body punches.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you. If the fight did go longer, I would have definitely got him. I was starting to really open him up in the 3rd and 4th round. But it was just a learning experience. That was my second pro fight at the time. So, but yeah, Errol Spence is. I just watched this fight now overseas. And he really implemented the body work in his game. So.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what's your favorite fight so far that you had in your 15 fights? The one you like, man, I really enjoyed that one.
Man, there's quite a few. I mean, of course, I love the knockouts and the atmosphere of fighting in the garden. Just maybe not based off performance, but I would have to say my first fight at the Garden, where I fought, I believe it was maybe my 3rd pro fight, and it was a sold-out Madison Square Garden, and
friends and family there.
I sold a lot of tickets. I sold a lot of tickets. It's really unheard of for the amount of tickets I sell for, at the time, a 4-round fighter, 6-round fighter. I was selling $40,000, $50,000 worth of tickets, and I was pretty much outselling the main event. So.
Wow. Now, how are you going to handle, because certain champions, to be a real champion and to be a champion that sustains greatness, can you survive in a dogfight? Do you have the certain intangibles that go beyond boxing to be champion? If you get hurt, can you come back like Sullivan Barrera did the other day against Joe Smith? Get down, come back and fight and dig down deep. And that sustains, that makes the great champions and for 10 years instead of 1 or 2 years.
I've been doing boxing since I was 7 years old, so I was bred to do this. I've definitely been in situations, maybe not in a professional fight, but where I had to dig down and really overcome some adversity and I know I have what it takes, and I know my potential. You know, I've been in the ring with a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of experienced fighters, a lot of legends. You know, so I definitely know my potential, and it's just a matter of time for me to really showcase my talent in front of everybody, and heart and ability.
Name the people you sparred.
Notable people are Manny Pacquiao, Ruslan Provodnikov, Danny Garcia, Kendall Holt, and there's your Dennis Ugas, who's a Cuban Olympian, Carlos Tamara, who was the IBF world champion, and I would spar with him when I was 12 years old because he was a 108 pounder, and that was how much I weighed when I was 12. So, you know, usually other kids are there sparring kids, and I'm here sparring world champions when I'm 12 years old. So
Wow, that made you good.
That's where I really noticed my style to develop into a professional style.
Now, who you sparred Giovanni? What's this? Davis in the amateurs?
I fought him twice.
Okay, how'd that go?
The first time it was a really back and forth fight. I dropped him in the first fight. The second fight I ran him out the ring in the second fight.
Okay.
But I'm just being honest. You know, we grew up together. He's a really nice kid, and I'm really happy for where his career is now. So that's the story.
Is that a future fight? You're at 140.
Hey, let's do it.
Who's on your radar? You're looking at 140. Maybe you move. I'm hoping you move up personally because all with Thurman and all those guys. But I mean, you're looking at. Are you looking at a particular fight? Like, man, I think I want to fight him.
Well, this year is gonna definitely be a bigger year for me, and there's a lot of 140s on my radar, especially the ones that are signed the top rank. So, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and call people out, but any 140 that's in top rank, that's pretty much undefeated, or that's who's been on my radar. So.
Well, shoot, Terrence Crawford's undefeated. He's top ranked.
Yeah, but you know, you got to be realistic. I'm 15-0. He's
okay. You're
maybe
coming up
in due time, you know.
But there's somebody that's intermediate that you beat, and then you start winning, and then
pretty much the same level in their career as I am, or the same point in their career, maybe 20-0 that they are, or you know, there's a lot of them. So
you're gonna get avoided though. You're body puncher, so people might not pick up the phone. They might see your number and be like, I'm not answering the phone. I might even block it with the way you hit. And people protect their record right now. It's not like it used to be. So, I mean, don't get discouraged when that happens.
No, I honestly, I've been dealing with that since the early amateur days. So a lot of people would see my name in the bracket and would pull out their fighters. So, again, I know it's part of the sport. I embrace it, and whoever is willing to put on a show, I think it's only better for the fans because it's gonna be a good show.
You have no fear. I watched you. You had that serious look in your eyes. And there, I said you remind me of Kobe. You're like an assassin when you come in there, but a smart assassin where you systematically take your fighter out instead of just going in there wildly, not moving your head. So, how much do you attribute to your trainer for that? Because obviously he taught you how to become a fighter. You have a really good IQ in the ring.
Oh yeah, all of my trainers. I have, my dad. That's who was my main trainer growing up. Then I have Butch Sanchez and Angel De Jesus, and those Butch and Angel, they've bred 4 or 5 world champions, and so they definitely have the experience of dealing with bringing somebody up and dealing with certain things in training camp. My dad, we both grew together, man. Like when he stopped to train me, he wasn't a trainer. He was just staying boxing to stay in shape. And he just saw I had a natural talent and I had natural strength, and we both just grew. The more we went to tournaments, and he grew as a trainer and I grew as a fighter, and we befriended a lot of other people who've been in the game for 20, 30 years, and they taught us a lot, and I'm just really grateful for how we grew up in the game.
Finally, okay, let's be honest. You're a Latin guy. You're undefeated. You've been on HBO. You fought the Garden. How do you deal with the distractions? Because they're going to come because you're going to get a bigger name. You're on the Crawford undercard. You're probably going to tear the guy up. You beat the guy up, and now you're known across the world. How do you deal with just that? Because you got Madison Avenue looks. You got power. You got a name. I mean, how do you...
Honestly, it all depends on how you were brought up. And I think, I'm a very humble person, and I'm very to myself. I was very since an early age, my dad told me, you know, as nasty as it may sound, but don't make friends in this business. And the weigh-ins, don't sit there and try to make jokes with every other fighter. You know, keep to yourself, and that helped me in other ways. You know, a lot. Boxing has taught me a lot unintentionally, so you know, it kept me disciplined. And when you're brought up a certain way, and you're forced to be brought up that way, finally, when you're free and you're a man and you're out there by yourself, you just, that's all you know. So you know, I know to be very humble. I don't really allow distractions to get in the way.
Thanks a lot, man. Terrific.
Thank you.
Okay.